guys, so I just wanted to come on here and talk to you about the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre film streaming on Netflix and just give my 2 cents on the movie. So I watched it a couple nights ago, Friday night, pretty chill, not really expecting very much out of it. I mean, I'm a big fan of the franchise. There's 9 of them in the series. Some are good, some are not, so I really kind of wanted to reserve judgment on this film until I watched it. So as soon as it came out, Twitter obviously came to life with people talking about the film. People either loved it or hated it. No real in between. For myself, man, I loved it. It was amazing. I mean, sure, you can kind of pick it apart if you want to about the plot and the character development and the acting and all that kind of stuff. But for the sheer thrills of a film, which is basically a sequel to that first movie from the 70s, it kind of delivered for me. I mean, it was lean, mean, no nonsense, Leatherface with a chainsaw. There was a massacre in this one. I mean, he literally went to town on a bunch of people with a chainsaw, killing everyone inside. It was awesome. So I really didn't see a lot to hate about this film. It was well done. The cinematography was beautiful, but yeah, the characters and the plot were definitely wafer thin. There wasn't a lot going on there, but what we did have was entertaining. I mean, the gore and the violence was on point. I mean, some of the kills in this were amazing. There was some suspense, a couple jump scares. I had a good time. So it just goes for an hour and 23 minutes, so it doesn't outstay its welcome. It just kind of got to business, entertained you for 80 minutes, and then it was done, and man, I had a really, really good time with it. So when I heard there was a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming to Netflix, obviously I was a little bit dubious right away because just going straight to streaming, I wasn't too convinced that it was going to be any good. But like I said, I went in kind of with my expectations kind of lowered and I was completely blown away. So I own the collection on Blu-ray, I own all of them, and I just watched part 4 again the other day for the first time in a long time because that was the only one I didn't have on Blu-ray. I didn't like the movie starring Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, as it's titled in Australia, or The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as it was released internationally. So I decided to buy it because my collection wasn't complete without it. I've not seen it since I watched it on DVD years ago, but I just got curious because I knew this was coming. A lot of people were watching the movies again in preparation, so I popped it in literally Thursday last week, the day before I watched this new one, and yeah, it was as bad as I remembered. But definitely Matthew McConaughey was the best thing about that movie. He brought a certain energy, and yet you can see why the guy would go on to become a superstar. And Renee Zellweger as well was quite good as the final girl, but what they did with that film was very, very odd. I mean, Leatherface didn't really kill anyone in that movie at all. It was all Matthew McConaughey. So yeah, it was not enjoyable. We've obviously had the remake with Jessica Biel, which was one of the better entries. The sequel to that, not so much. And then we've had another 3D version which came out with Alexandra Daddario, which was pretty shit. And then we had a prequel called Leatherface, which came out, and that one was okay. It was fine, nothing really great. Obviously, we had the first one from Tobe Hooper, which is still one of my favorite horror films ever. That film terrified me as a kid when I first saw it. And then the follow-up, is its own thing, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Yeah, okay, definitely more of a satire and a comedy. Very weird, but a lot of fun. People, love it or hate it with that one. And then Part 3, Leatherface, was a pretty fun romp as well. And then obviously Part 4 took on from that. So there has been some hits and misses in the franchise. That's what I'm getting at. This one was not a miss. It was done well. It was competent. The kills were gory and fun. I enjoyed the movie. So it was directed by David Blue Garcia, and the only other film that he's directed was called Tajano in 2018. So I've not seen that, but he was a cinematographer for a lot of his other movies, so you could definitely tell that visual flair was in this one. I mean, some of the shots were fantastic. It was really a really beautiful film. And the story was brought to us by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake. So I love him as a director as well. That Evil Dead remake that he did was just one of the best. If you've not seen the Evil Dead remake, then check it out. It's violent as hell, gory. It just goes to town. It was amazing. So I really do like what Fede Alvarez does with his movie making and his storytelling. So Halloween and Halloween Kills have just come out recently with Jamie Lee Curtis returning to the role. So basically, Halloween, which came out a few years ago, was a direct sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween, and they've just forgotten all the sequels that ever happened between the two movies. So this one is kind of taking that concept. All the other sequels that have happened since that first movie are no longer canon. This one is a direct sequel to that first film 50 years later, with the return of what is her name? Sally Hardesty, who was played by Marilyn Chambers in that first movie, and now she's played by Olwen Ferrer in this one, because unfortunately she passed away a few years ago. But basically, Sally Hardesty comes back to this film to get her revenge on Leatherface after 50 years of trauma. So the cast is Sarah Yarkin as Melody, Elsie Fisher as Lila, Mark Burnham as Leatherface, big dude, Jacob Lattimore as Dante, Mo Dunford as Richter, Olwen Ferrere as Sally Hardesty, I hope I'm saying her name right, Jessica Alain, Nell Hudson, Alice Krieg as Mrs. Mack, so I didn't recognize her right away, but I do love her. William Hope as the sheriff, and you might recognize him from Aliens, Jolyon Coy as the deputy, Sam Douglas as Herb the proprietor, and John Larroquette as the narrator once again. So he obviously narrated that first film back in the day. So the plot, like I said, pretty paper thin. A group of people, for reasons, are coming to this small town, which I think they've bought or they're going to do something with it. So a bus full of people were coming as potential investors, and we had our main characters, Melody and Lila, who are sisters. Lila, the younger sister, is a gunshot survivor from a school shooting, and Dante and Catherine are the main instigators of the whole purchase deal. Not clear. Like I said, I'm not going to rave about the plot or the writing in this movie. It's wafer thin. Like the whole plot about Lila being a gunshot survivor, and obviously she's traumatized and not well from that. Like she's got a bullet wound on her chest. That stuff is pretty rudimentary. I mean, the opportunity was there to really dive deep into that and expand on that story and really develop the characters, but this film is not really about that. I don't know how much is on the cutting room floor. I don't know what was chopped out, but being a lean 80 minutes, I'm assuming a lot was, but they just wanted to get a lean, mean massacre film to us, and I think they succeeded remarkably because it was entertaining. No, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but from that first kill on, I knew we were in for a hell of a ride. I was just like, oh shit, here we go. And the kills in this, like I said, were some of the best. And that bus scene, once again, no spoilers, but the bus scene is one of the best horror movie moments I've seen in a long time. It was brutal, it was gory, it was over the top, it was crazy good. The special effects were just insane. I had so much fun with this movie. I can't praise it enough. So yeah, like we could pick on the flaws of it, but I had fun with it. And at the end of the day, that's all I wanted out of a ninth film in a decades-old series about a man with a chainsaw. And like I said, it was definitely better than a lot of the other movies in this franchise. It was entertaining and fun. So the concept of being 50 years later, yeah, it can be argued that Leatherface, being a 70-plus-year-old man now, probably isn't going to be as agile and healthy as he could be, but he managed to take on and murder a bunch of people quite easily, very fast. Like I said, you could pick apart the plot. I mean, how does he get around so fast? How is he so agile? What's going on? But if you just kind of like turn all that shit off and just put the movie on and just let it play out for you, I guarantee you that you're going to have a good time with it. Like, let's just grab your popcorn, sit down and enjoy the ride. So I do get the detractors, yes. People like what they like. You can't really decide if you're going to like a film or not. If you don't like the movie, then I understand, because, if you want to critique it and if you want something more out of it, yeah, I get it. But for me, yeah, I was really kind of blown away with how much fun I had with this movie. It was cool, and I don't know if they're going to do more, and I don't know if, being released on Netflix, if that's going to happen. Also, being on Netflix, I don't know if they're going to release this movie on Blu-ray or 4K in some way down the track, like for the collectors out there. Like I said, I've got the whole lot on Blu-ray already. I'd love to get a physical copy of this and watch it again, but I don't know what will happen being a Netflix kind of a thing. But yeah, I was excited for it, and if they're going to do more of this quality, then I'm down for it. I had a lot of fun. It was awesome. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. But anyway, yeah, discuss below. I want to hear what you thought of the movie. Love it or hate it. Let me know. Did you have fun? Did you not even bother watching? Are you too scared to watch a streaming Netflix Psycho Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie? Tell me down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching.